What is going on, everybody? Sad time, but we are back on it with the final Game of Thrones episode, season 8, episode 6. I feel like the 2 years we waited was. The day was never going to come, you know? And now it's the final day. I posted this on my Facebook and I think my Twitter as well. Regardless of, let me see, what did I post exactly so I don't mess it up? Um, I said Game of Thrones really ends tonight. Even though this season wasn't what I was expecting and a bit of a letdown, this series still as a whole, from season 1, episode 1 to whatever happens tonight, is the greatest things my human eyeballs has ever seen on a TV, movie screen, however you want to pull it, however you want to put it. And I'm not sure what is going to happen tonight, but whatever I hope happens, um, it's a good, decent ending. And that's kind of where I'm standing at right now. Like I don't know what they're gonna do with it tonight. Like I don't really don't know where that plot's gonna go. Let me turn down this audio here real quick. I just hope that it's decent. I can't believe it's actually gonna end. It's gonna be over. I don't know. I mean, me being in just so into the lore and everything, I'm gonna be all over the prequel series. Like when the prequel series start, which I think they're hinting at next spring, next summer, that the prequel series. I think they've cast Nicole Kidman. Um, and a couple other people already. So they've got some like decently named actors and actresses in it. I don't know if it's gonna. I don't know what HBO is expecting in a return. Are they expecting like the following, the cult likeness, and the views that the regular Game of Thrones series got? Um, I don't know if it's gonna get the same amount of views or if it's going to get the same amount of buzz or watchers. I would think it might not get the same amount of watchers as Game of Thrones, but I feel like the prequel series will be the most watched thing on TV at the time it comes on. It might not be pulling Game of Thrones numbers, but I feel like it's got to be the hottest thing on TV when it comes out. Anything Game of Thrones related, depending on how they have it. I know they've scheduled for maybe like 8 to 10 different prequel series, so I don't know if that's 8 to 10 different seasons or storylines or what. I don't know if it's going to be kind of like a Black Mirror thing where like maybe the first prequel series will be its own story and it'll get 10 episodes and then we'll come back a year, 2 years later and it'll be a completely different time period with like unrelated characters. Like it won't overlap like Game of Thrones. Maybe it'll be a Black Mirror type thing where every season is its own time period. So I can't wait for that. But speaking to just Game of Thrones in general, I don't think I got one single thing that I wanted in this entire season. Um, just from, I think my biggest gripes were, well, let's just talk about the season as a whole, and then we'll kind of go with kind of where my mindset has been. Characters that you want to know who's probably the two biggest letdowns of this season, in my opinion, have to be, and I don't know who wins it, but it's between Bran and it is between Jon. What how many lines has Jon had this season? Like what has he done? What has he said? What has he done? What actions has he taken besides telling his sisters his true identity and telling Dany his true identity? What has he done? What is the prince that is he the prince that's like even taking prophecies out? Like Melisandre says, prophecies can be a tricky thing. Um, he's your arguably second or third biggest character on the show. Where if you want to say Dany's number one, Tyrion's number two, or Jon's number two, I feel like the amount of screen time and the plot that he's been involved in has been so small. He didn't do any, unless you're telling me his story, his plot point all along was just to bring Fire and Ice together, to bring Dany into the fold to help against the battle against the Night King, and that was his purpose. Because he has done absolute, I feel like his story has done nothing this entire 5 episodes. Maybe the 6 episodes is going to be very big and focused on him. Maybe he's the one that kills Dany. Maybe he ends up sitting on the throne when it's done. But if he doesn't kill Dany and he doesn't take the throne and he just decides like, you know what, I don't want this world, and decides to go north and like live out his days at Castle Black or north of the Wall with Torment, or just maybe by himself. Maybe he just wants to be by himself. Um, what a disappointing story that was. I feel like season fought when he was murdered and then brought back to life, and then we found out his true identity, and then he was named king in the north, and then he led um brought Danny into the fold, and he rode a dragon, and it's like, what is what has been his purpose since then? I have no idea. I feel like his whole arc has just been wasted. Like it took a halt to where he was like, maybe you put him as like a second tier character when he's supposed to, like, he should be up there. I feel like I could go on about it for hours and hours, but like, do you agree with me on that? Like, what has been the purpose of John this season? And even less so, Bran. Like, I wanted so much from Bran this season, and we just straight up didn't get a damn thing. I don't think we got a single flashback, a single flash forward, a single flash present. We didn't get anything from Bran this entire season. He said a little bit about the Night King, like, I'm the memory of man and he seeks to destroy me. I'll lure him out. And he warged into a few crows, and that was it. Literally, in my opinion, the biggest crux, crucial Achilles character in the entire show, in my opinion, has he's been on screen in episode 1, 2, 3, and 5. No, and 4. So he was in the first 4 episodes, but his lines were minimal, his impact was minimal. I just it blows my mind that, like, he's supposed to be the memory of man, and it's like ever since he left that cave, he has served no purpose to just like us. Like, he's given us no information, and it's such a waste, and like the potential that they could have done with him, and then finding out that like HBO wanted to renew them for like another 3 or 4 seasons, and they just tapped out. Like, I'd rather them like giving the story over to somebody else, like Andy, like just to keep it going, because I feel like Bran had so much to offer to the story. All the flashbacks he saw, and none of it got explained. And whether you're on the fence that, like, why do you need more information about the Night King? We found out what he wants. He just wants to destroy Bran. He just wants to destroy the memories of man. If you're okay with that explanation, then sure. I'm not. The fact that like we didn't get any more flashbacks of like the White Walkers and the Night King and just any kind of shared vision, but it's just a mess. Then that brings me back to episode 3, and we're just not going to talk about that. I will say I don't know how I feel about Jaime's story ending, because you could say like, oh my god, character assassination, how could they do that to Jaime? But if you think back to it, every character kind of remained true to themselves, like just through the whole 8 seasons, and they all died, Ned remained honorable when he could have taken Renly's advice and captured Cersei and Joffrey in the middle of the night with 1,000 forces, taken them and separate, or just captured Joffrey and held him hostage and whatever have you, or murdered them, or done whatever. Listened to Littlefinger, and he could have taken their advice, and he didn't, and he tried to do the honorable thing, and in the end, it got him killed. His son betrayed a promise that he had to go with a woman that he actually loved, got him, his forces, and his mom killed. Tywin, playing around too much, not taking Tyrion seriously, calling her a whore, got him killed. Like, we can just go down, down. Stannis, murdering his daughter. Like, we can just go on forever about characters that were like true to themselves, and in the end, it got them killed. And I feel like Jaime was kind of no different. I felt like I will say the line that he made about like, I never cared about the innocents, that didn't make any sense, because we saw him talking to Brienne in that hot tub or hot bath. What was that, season 2, season 3, about how like, I stabbed the king because he was going to murder innocents. Like, would you have been able to do it, murder your king or save people? And when he said the line, like, I don't know if he said that just to like put on a front in front of Tyrion, but I feel like we've seen it. He came into this world with Cersei, and no matter what, I feel like he was always going to leave this world with her. No matter if him and Brienne lived a long life, had kids, I feel like if it would have came to the moment where he heard Cersei was going to die, that's true to Jaime's character. He was always in love with Cersei, and no matter what he built with Brienne, or the amount of people he saved, or the pledge he made to ride north, I feel like when shit hit the fan, or when it was crunch time to make a final decision, he was always going to be there for Cersei or die trying, and I feel like that's what he did. But I will say, what was the point of the Brienne story arc? Was that just to give her somebody to love and something to do? Because like they're never gonna see each other again. The man's dead. Um, I feel like Cersei was also a waste this season. Besides like what the first episode we had with her and Euron, and it was mostly just her standing at that balcony, kind of looking out there. We saw her do that in episode 4. We saw her do that in episode 5. I feel like an actress of her status, like we didn't really get much from her this season, so that was kind of a letdown. And it's just I don't know what they plan to do with it. I feel like Varys was kind of also put in the background, but in Tyrion has been, I don't know. It's hard to take the Tyrion from season 2, when he was Hand of the King for Joffrey, and the Tyrion we have now with just someone like the decisions that he's made. Are you telling me people really got the better of him and outsmarted him as far as like losing the Greyjoy fleet and underestimating Cersei and taking what Sansa told him and telling Varys and XYZ to the same man that like um not executed but banished Commander Slint and had Braun always looking after him and paying off this person and that person. It just seems like and is that to writing, or is that to maybe Tyrion's character maybe just lost a little bit of what he had? Um, it's just interesting to see. And then you get to the whole Dany thing. I think part of me was okay with Dany's plot because of how let down I was throughout the season and what happened with the Long Night. With how let down I was with like the Night King, I just wanted Dany to burn everything. So I'm okay with what happened with her character. And I'm also one of those people that like she's been talking about burning stuff down since she was in Karth, talking about her dragons and her armies would burn cities to the ground, and how she was crucifying masters, whether some of them were innocent or not, um, burning leaders alive, and just kind of like everything that she was doing, and the statements that she was making, and the visions that she had seen, and the promises that she would make, and seeing her touch down in Westeros and having nobody love her, and then losing half of her, and then losing the Greyjoys, and then losing Dorne, and then losing one dragon, then losing another dragon, then losing Jorah, and then losing Missandei, and then feeling like it was like all hope was lost, and feeling like if I just would have listened to my instincts, I still have 3 dragons, I'd still have Highgarden, and I'd still have Dorne, and I feel like it just all hit a boiling point, and the fact that she just thought Cersei just surrendered so quickly, she just like, no, fuck this. I feel like just everything burned up. She's like, I should have just listened to Lady Olenna, I should have just been a dragon, and everybody would still be here. And I feel like also seeing the love that Jon was getting and the love she wasn't getting, I feel like it just all hit a boiling point. But see, the thing is, like, people were arguing like they understand, like Dany, they understand she could become the Mad Queen, but they felt like it was rushed. But you also have to think like the months that went by, like because in the show they're teleporting from place to place to place. They're not going to show us the month it takes to go down the King's Road or sail around a Dragonstone in the King's Landing. Like there's months being passed in that timeline. Like who knows how long she's been on Westeros for everything that's happened, but it's been like almost probably a year that's gone by um, in that travel. But we're seeing in the span of one episode. I'm not making excuses for the writing because I think the writing has been just an abomination, but I am okay with Dany's plot point, but I know there's a lot of females out there, and a lot of young girls that just feel like Dany was the first like major TV movie female icon, and she was just shitted on to make and made look like this like emotional female that can't handle her emotions, and that like if Jon just would have fucked her, she would have been like if he would have said I loved you in that last episode instead of pushing her away, like she's just made to look like this emotional female that needs a man to calm her down. Like it's been all over the place. I know people feel totally betrayed and they feel like it was I keep hearing the word character assassination. Um, but I'm okay with it. Now, am I okay with it because I'm actually am okay with it, or I'm okay with it because of how disappointed I am in the season that like seeing everything just go up in fire I'm okay with. Um, I don't know. That's just kind of like what I feel about with some of the major characters. What I want to see in this last episode, I'm going to give you guys what I want to see and what I think is going to happen. Um, I'm letting you know right now. Right now at 8:30 p.m., 30 minutes before this episode starts, If Aya kills Danny, I am going to be so mad, upset, emotionless, disconnect. If Aya kills Danny, I'm gonna be so over it. Like, and I said this to a couple people that I have a lot of book readers that I talk to after the episode because I'd like to get their opinions on it because they know more of like the lore than I do. But I feel like they're bringing Danny down as this female character, and to like to avoid some of the heat they're getting from the public of like, oh my god, how could you do this to our only female hero character? That they're like elevating Aya at the same time to like balance it out. Like, oh, I know we're taking down this amazing female character that's been like a hero for all our female watchers out there, but look what we're doing with Aya. You know, she's the female character you can get behind and do all this stuff. Like, I feel like they're raising Aya and lowering Danny at the same time. And I feel like what would like they let her kill the Night King for whatever. If you say she's this world class assassin that like she's the only one that could do it, sure, whatever. Um, Again, I'm not. I don't mind her killing the Night King. I mind how fast it happened and how it happened. But man, if she kills Danny tonight, that'll be the nail in the coffin for me on like trying to hold out hope for this season. You know, I want to like I'm trying to give the because the production and the visuals have been better than most movies I watch in IMAX, like what they've put on screen. But the writing has been whoa. And if they let Aya kill Danny, I'm over it. I'm over it. Now you could say, oh, so is John gonna kill Danny? But that looks like the too obvious choice. Um, Maybe Tyrion does it. People are saying that, and I didn't know what to make of this. The little girl that Varys was talking to in the last episode, was he just one of Varys's little birds that just reports to him, but and happens to work in the kitchen and deliver the food, or was he purposely trying to poison Danny? That's why he kept asking the little girl, "Hey, has she eaten today? Oh, the guards are watching you. It's okay, don't worry about it." Is that little girl trying to poison Danny? And maybe that's how she ends up dying. We find out Varys' little bird poisoned her, which I would be okay with. Um, but if it's Aya, I swear, man, I feel like it needs to be John because he has been giving nothing to do this entire season. Give my man some kind of emotional moment. Do something, even if it looks like too storybook, too textbook. Just let him kill Danny, you know. So what I think is gonna happen, John kills Danny. Drogon just happened. He just becomes a wandering dragon after that. Maybe he lives for 200 years and ends up getting as big as Balerion the Dread, and he's just out there eating and living life for another 100, 200 years. That he could triple in size. Um, I don't see John sitting on the throne, um, but who does is the question. What I think happens is Aya goes to find out what's west of Westeros. She's decided she's done with her revenge life. She saw what happened to the Hound, living that revenge life. If I had to pick, I think Aya tries to find out what's west of Westeros, or she goes back to Essos and goes from there. I think Dany ends up killing Tyrion. I really do. She finds out about Jaime, and ends up killing Tyrion. That would be a heart wrencher. But I think Dany 100% dies this episode. I just don't know how or by who. I say Jon kills Dany. Dany kills Tyrion. Aya goes and does whatever it is that she does. And I'm actually going to go with that nobody ends up sitting on the Iron Throne and we go back to 7 individual kingdoms. Gendry rules the Stormlands. Sweet Robert Arryn rules the Vale. Um, Sansa becomes Lady of Winterfell. Wardeness of the North. King of the North. Queen of the North. Um, the new prince that's in Dorne, he's ruling Dorne. They got to find somebody to put out there in Highgarden. Somebody's got to rule Casterly Rock. Um, and then I don't know who's going to run the Riverlands. And they just go back to 7 individual kingdoms. That's what I think is going to happen. And I think Jon goes to live out his days north of the Wall or back up at Castle Black. I don't think they have to form a Night's Watch. Maybe they do. Or maybe they call it something else. But I could see Dany killing Tyrion, and that's kind of like the final straw for Jon to kill her out of love. And then everybody just kind of rules individually. I will say I'm disappointed that we never got to saw Robert Arryn brought back into the story. We never got to see Mira Reed again, even though her banners aren't they loyal to the North? Like, why were they not there fighting the Long Night? You figured she would be there. She knows the threat that's out there. I would love to see her fighting by like, I don't know. I would love to see her fighting alongside Theon, protecting Bran in the forest. You know, that would have been amazing. Um, but I have a feeling characters we're not going to see her. We're not going to see Robert Aaron. We're not going to see Ed Muir. There's a lot of characters we're not going to see, and that's unfortunate. I'd love for there to be give me the Lord of the Rings ending. Maybe John kills Dan. He's like, you know what? I'll sit on the throne. I'll do this for my father, for my mother, for my father Ned. Um, and we get this huge kind of ceremony. Maybe they make. I feel like you can't make the North to the capital because the capital needs ports and accessibility. But maybe he does. I mean, put the capital in the North. Who cares? And we just have this like Lord of the Rings ending where everybody comes to pay their respects. We see the Prince of Dorne. We see Yara come in. We see Mira Reed and Robert Aaron and Robin Aaron and just kind of all this stuff. But what I'm scared, what I think, that's what I want to happen. What I think will happen, Aya ends up killing Danny. Um, John ends up ruling even though he doesn't want it. And Tyrion is his hand. No, Sam is his hand. Um, and Sansa becomes Lady of the North. But I just can't see John. I don't know what I'm gonna. I don't know what I think's gonna happen. I have no idea because the writing is not consistent and you don't know where it's going. Um, I would love for like my ending that I have happen. You know, we have our individual kingdoms. Yar's ruling Pike and Dorne is ruling Dorne. Sansa's in the north. I would love for John to like go north and see like a dead white walking around, or like see a White Walker or a new Night King, or we see John go north and Bran has a vision and he sees like a new. That would be even if it ends like that, and we're never going to see how that happens. I don't know. And like we don't know like is history going to repeat itself? Are we going to get another Night King and another threat that kind of like unites everybody together? I don't know. And another thing I'm pissed about is all those old shits living down in the Citadel and everybody south that like has heard the rumors of like spiders as big as hounds and ice giants. They never had to deal with that problem, and they're never probably going to believe it. You know, the Night King never made it. I would have loved for like I would love to see what those old maesters really thought. Like, oh my god, it's real. There's ice dragons and giants and spiders as big as hounds and the army of the dead and the long night is here. What are we going to do? And nobody south of Winterfell will ever know, and that is a damn shame. That's probably what I'm heard about the most is like nobody's gonna know what they had to deal with. You know, nobody really is going to know what was ever north of that wall and what the Night's Watch and the Wildlings and the Northmen and what the Dothraki and the Unsullied had to do. And it took dragons to stop and dragon glass and Valyrian steel and what it really took. Nobody south of Winterfell is ever going to know about that or ever have to worry about it. And that is a damn shame. And that's probably what my biggest disappointment in the entire season is. The Bran, Night King, and the Northern Threat storyline. And if you're one of those people that refutes it and say, well, you haven't been paying attention, Game of Thrones was never about the army of the dead. It was always about the game, people backstabbing people, and people were always the threat. Well, then I guess that's the storyline you were looking at. I just don't know how you start episode 1, season 1 with dead, and then the long night lasts 20 minutes, you know? That's probably my biggest disappointment, but I don't know. And I just feel like, and then what does Bran do with the rest of his days? Does he go north of the wall? And is there a need for another three-eyed raven? You know, are we going to ever have a threat again? Does he need to pass his knowledge down to somebody else? Or is magic kind of done here? Maybe Drogon dies, you know? That eliminates one magic. And maybe Bran has a flashback or flash forward and he realized there's never going to be another Night King or Children of the Forest or Army of the Dead. And his time has come and passed, and maybe he goes north of the wall and lives out the rest of his days, but like he can't fend for himself, so like I don't understand what he would do. Maybe he just decides to go north of the wall and die because he's no longer needed. He doesn't want anything anymore, he says. Maybe he gets married to Mira Reed or something. I don't know. I feel like the biggest question mark is I don't know what John's going to do or what Bran's going to do. I feel like the thing that would help me the most is maybe we see a new Night King or a random White Walker walking around and the screen goes black. That'd be pretty cool to see. I did that crazy petition that came out this week that like almost 1 million people signed for HBO to redo. And a lot of people are bitching about like, you think a petition is really going to get people to redo a million, $50 million season? And it's not even that. Like, I didn't sign the petition, but I saw it and I saw the arguments for it. And I think most of the people understand the season isn't going to get redone. But I think what people are holding out hope for is like the writers and everybody like Dan and Dave. You see how many people are upset with like the product you put out and the fact that you rushed it and cut it 4 episodes short and didn't want the 2, 3, 4 extra seasons that HBO was offering to pay for. At least like say we want out, but hand it to somebody else. Do something. I think it was just amazing to see that many people um, had distaste with the season. You know, we've been rambling for 25 minutes. The episode's going to start here in 10 minutes. I just wanted to kind of get that out as kind of like the last discussion pre Game of Thrones, pre final episode. Of course, we'll have our post episode. Hopefully, I can get this up to you guys Monday. It depends on how good of a quality I'm able to render off my computer. If I'm not able to, we'll get it up Tuesday night. But that's kind of where I'm at. The season has been kind of disappointing, letdown, but it can be saved here. I mean, you can't make up for what happened with the Night King and how easily Cersei and the Golden Company were wasted and defeated and kind of wasted character storylines and all that kind of stuff. But you can leave a lasting taste in people's mouth with this final episode. It's been dubbed the greatest thing ever on TV. This is kind of like the big thing of our generation, our like phenomenon, bigger than kind of everything else that's ever been put on TV or on movies. And how do you, I'm speaking as like somebody's going to listen to this and change the episode that comes out in 10 minutes, but I hope they took this into account. Like, how do you want people to remember Game of Thrones? Because people remember the end, you know? And how are they going to leave us off in the ending? You're not going to be able to satisfy everybody, and I know that. Some people were okay with how the Night King was defeated. They're like, oh, it's a short season. You can't have the long night go 3 episodes long where there's only 3 episodes left, and you had to burn down King's Landing. Danny had to do it. We had to rush it. There's only 6 episodes. What are you going to do? You can't please everybody with this last episode. There's going to be people out there that want Danny to sit there and rule out the rest of her days and her and Jon get married. There's going to be people that want Arya to kill Danny, Jon to kill Danny, Jon to sit on the Iron Throne. Maybe Sansa's the queen of the Seven Kingdoms. There's going to be people that want different things. You're not going to be able to please everybody, but damn, you could somehow like get in the middle or do something, you know? And the 8, 10 years that this thing's been on TV, they're really losing it here at the end. And the stamp that they can put on this is going to be, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they send it off. So, and it'll just be interesting to see what they do. And this is it. I can't believe like in an hour and a half, Game of Thrones is officially going to be over. We waited so long for this season. It went by so fast. And there's not really much to say, man. Give me some Bran. Show me some dead. Army of the Dead. Show me something. I don't know. We'll see what it goes. We'll see how it goes. And let's get it. Is she gonna execute? Wow. Oh wow.
It's over. These men are prisoners. It is not over until the Queen's enemies are defeated.
How much more defeated do you want them to be? They're on their knees.
They are breathing.
Oh
Look around you,
shit.
friend. We won.
I obey my Queen's commands, not yours. And what are the Queen's commands? Kill all who follow Cersei Lannister. These are free men. They chose to fight for her.
Oh my god.
Hey,
They will all die there. I feel like Jon doesn't want those problems.
Jon. You should speak to the Queen.
I don't think he could take Grey Worm. I really don't. None of the Westerosi knights have been able to mess with any Dothraki or Unsullied or in combat. I don't think Jon's any different. He's still going to execute those men right there, isn't he? Jesus. Stop it. Tell me Jamie's not laying right there. It's his hand. It's his fucking hand. I don't know if we've ever seen him like cry like this much pain. Even when he killed Shay, I don't think he. Maybe he's the one that ends up killing Danny. That's gonna be like his flip switch point. But oh my god, that was a dope ass shot showing the wings on her. Um so I think she lost like a couple thousand in Marine, right? Between what happened in the pit and the assassination of the Unsullied in the street. And then she lost half, they said half, in the Battle of Winterfell. They look as healthy as ever, honestly.
You freed your brother. You committed treason.
I freed my brother. And you slaughtered a city.
Wow. That's even worse than stabbing. Like, he's just giving it up to her. Wow. Holy shit. I think that's worse than, like, stabbing her in the back. He doesn't believe in her anymore. She knows it. He doesn't trust in his queen. It's over.
Everywhere she goes, evil men die, and we cheer for it. And she grows more powerful and more sure that she is good and right.
They're actually helping drive her Mad Queen
She believes her destiny is to build a better world.
storyline. I guess to make it not seem so rushed.
You truly believed it, wouldn't you? Kill whoever stood between you and paradise.
Like, they're bringing up all her past deeds of burning and crucifying and all this, losing her best friend and her dragon. They're like driving home all these points, like how she went so mad. I guess to justify the writing for what happened last episode. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm kind of liking it that they're bringing up those points because a lot of people, a lot of Dany fans, like, ignore that fact. To see Tyrion give up on her in front of her face was
You just came up with that.
that was good.
Mr. Hammond said it a long time ago.
What about them?
You see them bending the knee.
You know what she'll do to them if they don't.
Sisters were loyal to the throne.
Why do you think Sansa told me the truth about it?
Holy shit. Like, is that all still ash? Like, none of that snow or what? This is her vision in the House of the Undying. She made it to the throne room. We thought it was covered in snow because of maybe the White Walkers came down and destroyed everything. It was actually her. And it wasn't snow, it was ash. And there's the throne. But I have a feeling she's about to get stabbed or shot or something. Every time Dany's in a shot alone, I keep thinking Aya is going to come up behind her. Every single time.
You are my queen.
He's going to do it. He's going to do it. And always. He's going to do it. He's going to kill her. Oh, fuck. Hmm. Does he know what he's done? Does he know what he's done if they walk in there and see that? He's to hop on Drogon and fly. There is no way he makes out of King's Landing alive. Drogon. Even though I knew it was going to happen, I still can't believe it. Holy shit. Like, I knew it was going to happen this episode, but like, 30 minutes in, what happens now? Does he burn them? Does he accept Jon as his rider now, or what? She never even got to sit on it. He's like a dog trying to wake her up. He's burning it down. That's a great fucking shot. I'm still in like shock that Dany's dead. Actual shock. He burned it down. And this was one of my questions pre-episode. Does Drogon just go out and live the world as a riderless dragon and just live out his days 100, 200 years old? Tripling, quadrupling in size? Or just like, is Jon now his rider? Or... no one's gonna know she died if he flies off with her. Wow. I'd love to follow that story. Like, where does he go? What does he do with the body? Like... and like, so what happens with all the Unsullied forces and the Dothraki and everything? Like, what do they believe or think? Or... so many questions.